Hello, you beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of the Soulful Self-Development Podcast. This is something that I have wanted to share for a while, but I didn't know how to find the words, so I finally sat down and gathered my thoughts. I know this is going to sound a bit crazy to some, but this is the sad truth of what is happening all around us, and I know that it is important that we start to wake up to this so that we can make a change because there is power in numbers. Please share this episode, send it to everyone that you can because I know that this needs to be heard. Right now, we are in a war, one that most of us don't even know that we are fighting, and it's killing all of us. Here's the thing, it's not like a gun where we can see and hear it. This war is sneaky. It's slowly killing our bodies, brains, energy, ambition, sense of self-worth, our connection to ourselves, others, and the planet. And worst of all, it's killing our souls, dreams, and it's taking the magic and beauty out of our lives. But I'm here to say no more. And I'm here to help you see what is truly happening so that you can be informed enough to make a conscious decision and help make a big change that is well needed. There has been a big shift happening in our world. This is called the Great Awakening. COVID was when I really started to feel this shift, and ever since, more and more people have been awakening to the truth of all the lies we've been told, the truth about what is really happening in this world. I believe it's important that we all wake up to this truth because it will help us, the people, the light, to take back our power and to help make this world so beautiful, so peaceful, so magical again. Now, where to begin? First of all, I want you to know that this is not your fault. We have all been programmed and conditioned to see this as normal. However, it is not. Please be easy with yourself because there was no way of knowing until you have this experience of waking up, and even then it's tough. I have felt trapped for years, seeing all of it and not knowing what to do. If you feel like you need somebody to talk to, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I know what it feels like, and I promise I will be there to help. I know that is part of my purpose and part of my mission in this life. To start off, I want to talk about toxins. There are so many toxins in our food, in our water, in our everyday products that we use, and in our environments. Any kind of food that is processed, it's in the pesticides that get sprayed on our food, it's in all of our products, things like soaps, shampoos, conditioner, body wash, makeup, hairspray, anything, literally anything, laundry detergent, dish soap, household cleaners, all these things, everything that we are so surrounded by all the time is filled with these toxins. And it's not just the things we eat, okay? Our skin is the largest organ in our body. We are absorbing toxins through our skin, anything that we put on our skin. There are obviously things that don't have toxins, that this is where you want to find things that are like organic. There are companies that have clean options for products, and I highly recommend using the app Yucca because it will tell you what's in it and break it down so you can see how good it is for you and what's in it and the side effects of some of these additives and preservatives and all these negative things that they put into our food. But pretty much anything that comes in a package is not good. We should be eating whole organic foods that come from the earth, that comes from grass-fed animals that are full of love and not tortured, like pumped with hormones and antibiotics and all those things. So that's kind of where you find toxins, and they affect more than we realize. The physical effects for our health make us tired, have less energy, brain fog, disrupts our hormones, weakens our immune system, have digestive issues, skin issues, chronic diseases, affects our reproductive health, causes cancer, and more. And this is just the physical side effects. Now let's talk about the spiritual side effects that these toxins have. Disconnection from ourself. It causes us to be disconnected from ourselves. It makes it so that we are less in tune with our bodies, emotions, even our dreams and purpose. It clouds our mental clarity, which makes it harder to tune into yourself, to meditate, to distinguish between our ego, our soul, our intuition, and our spirits. We are blocking our intuitive and psychic gifts with these poisons. They make our third eye weak, We have no intuition, no inner knowing, no way of connecting to ourself, spirit, and others, no way of looking inside for the answers, because that's where the answers are. Our answers are all inside. It creates energetic blocks, chakra imbalances. Our chakras are energetic discs inside of our body, and which allows energy to flow, and when there becomes imbalances, it disrupts the flow of energy in the body. For example, a toxic diet will result in digestive issues, which leads to lack of personal power and confidence. Not only does it affect our physical bodies, but it's affecting mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of our well-being as well. It also causes aura disturbances. Toxins have a negative effect on our aura, leaving it dull or clouded, which leads to us manifesting undesirable things into our realities, gives us the inability to connect with others. Our auras are our magnetic field, so whatever energy is in our aura is the energy that we are putting out to the universe, which means it's also the energy that we are getting back from the universe. So the more clouded and toxic our aura is, the more toxic situations we're going to have. It's just such a negative feedback loop if we're not taking care of our auras. It also results in emotional turmoil, increased anxiety and depression, lack of spiritual connection and sense of purpose. It leads to negative thought patterns that manifest negative things into our lives. It also results in a lack of energy and motivation. We can have a difficult time focusing, hard to achieve our dreams and goals when we can't focus on things for very long. We can't dive deep into spiritual practices because it makes it hard to concentrate, hard to meditate, hard to wake up and do all these things every day that we know are good for us. It causes a lack of purpose, which results in us feeling drained to do the things that we actually love, the things that light us up, because that's how we follow our purpose. But when it steals all our energy and we have no energy to put towards the things that we actually love, then we're going to lose our sense of purpose. It creates a loss of creativity and inspiration. It's harder to feel connected to the self, to spirituality, harder to express yourself authentically, and it leads to us questioning our existence. This comes from being in a state of depression, wondering what is the point, feeling like you're just doing the same thing over and over again and nothing's changing, essentially feeling like we're zombies and we don't even know what to do to make a change in our life. It's like we're on autoplay, on repeat, and it's not even a day that we wish we could be repeating. It's just happening over and over and over again. And after so long, I feel like we maybe don't even know that it's happening to us. And one day you wake up and you think to yourself like, wow, I just lived so much of my life in this state of just being a zombie and not knowing and just going through the motions every single day. And honestly, that terrifies me. It also creates fear-based living. So we come from a state of being afraid of everything, being afraid that we're not good enough, being afraid that things won't work out for us, being afraid that we're going to get hurt or injured, being afraid that our loved ones are going to be taken away from us, being afraid, just always being in that state of fear. And fear is one of the lowest vibrational emotions. And fear is the only way that you can take power over somebody else. Fear has been used for many, many, many years as a tactic in war and fighting. You make people scared for their lives. You make people fearful, and they will do whatever you say. And that is a really big part of what's happening. And because we are in the state where essentially we are just in fight or flight all the time, we're in fear, we're on edge, we can't even relax our bodies so that we can get ourselves out of fight or flight because we're just always so full of fear. It's also created a disconnection from community. We as humans are supposed to be communal creatures. We are social creatures. We are supposed to have a sense of community where we do things together. Like society, I believe, would function the best if we lived for community, where everybody had their part that we all did as a community. We had community gardens and we helped feed each other, helped take care of each other. helped teach the kids, help do this, help do the chores. Like, everything is together, because whenever we try to do things alone, it can be so daunting because the task seems so much bigger. But if we had the sense of community that we are so missing, nothing would seem so scary, so big, so daunting, because we would have our community there to, and know that they support us, and know that they want to help us, and know that they are there to help us get it done. And that's a really big part of the disconnect that we're experiencing. And also, we end up feeling so lonely, we feel alone, because we don't really have these communal things anymore. We don't really have nearly as many community events. And yes, we obviously have a community because we live in towns, but if you want to know what I think when I think community, watch the movie Avatar. That is the community that we're missing. That is the connection that we are missing from one another. And that movie is about us. It's not about aliens. It's about us, what we are doing to ourselves. This also results in disconnection from nature. So when we don't have any energy and we just want to rot on the couch, watch TV, we're spending so much time indoors, and we're not going outside, and we're not connecting with nature and sunlight and fresh air and grounding ourselves. Nature is magical. It is so important. We need to consciously spend time in nature every single day. We are a part of nature. Originally, we were always in nature, and now we live in a world where everything is inside. Work is inside, house is inside. Like, how often do you actually go outside? I'm a person who tries to spend a lot of time outside, and I still feel like I don't spend enough time outside, because we should be doing almost everything outside. And like, we used to sleep on the ground, and that was so actually good for us. And now we sleep inside on a bed frame, just we're not near the ground. And we also, every time we go outside, are wearing shoes. And it is creating this block between our bodies and the earth as well. Also, most shoes are made out of rubber, which is an insulator. So we're not even absorbing the vibrations from the earth that help ground our energy and help us feel calm and connected and spiritual. We are going outside in plastic rubber runners, and we're not absorbing those vibrations at all. Another thing that I want to touch on is addictions. There is a lot of addictions in this world, and they are so common. It is so normal. The first one is alcohol, and alcohol is so bad. It is so bad. I can't even explain. And the fact that it is so normal is terrifying to me, because alcohol literally kills your soul. That's what it does. It does something to your energy where it almost like breaks a hole into your aura and allows for like negative entities, evil entities to like take over your body essentially. So it takes away from your soul and gives your energy to these other entities, which is why we do negative things. We have negative behaviors. We're more likely to get in a fight. We're more likely to be mean. We're more likely to do things that we wouldn't usually do, like embarrassing. If I think back to the days where I used to drink a lot, there is an endless amount of things that I would not have done if I was sober. And I think that it's sad, because we are so conditioned to believe that we need it to let loose and have fun as adults. It's embarrassing if we're just being silly, but if we're drunk, we can blame it on the alcohol and it's fine. And this is not okay. And it's literally poison for your body. Think about it. It makes you throw up. Hangovers are awful. You feel like you want to die. You need to be in a dark room, no sunlight, and your head hurts. You can't do anything. You're puking. It's awful. What is that even worth having fun? Is it even worth having fun for a couple of hours the night before when you're tired next day you can't even function? Like, I just outweighed my pros and cons, and I was like, no, absolutely not. And I have more fun now than I did, because I am myself. I can be goofy, I can be fun, and I don't have to wake up the next morning feeling terrible. And I'm also not letting these negative entities into my energy. The next one is weed, because weed has become legalized in Canada about 5 years ago. And I used to smoke a lot of weed, but I do not anymore. I haven't for a year now, and it is the best decision I have ever made for myself, I think, especially on my spiritual journey, because I have felt the energy of the spirit of marijuana, and she is not nice. It is not a good energy. She is sticky. She is gooey. She's like black tar that is over you at all times, and it slows you down. It leaves you with no ambition. It leaves you with brain fog and laziness. You don't want to do anything. You want to eat all this food you don't need to eat. It's heavy. It's dense. It's just difficult. It's so weighing you down, and I think we need it to relax, right? I can't sleep very well. I'm going to smoke. I want to just chill and watch a movie. I'm going to smoke. All these things. I used to make all the excuses for myself in the book, and it is awful. I also have seen my mom go into a full-blown psychosis for smoking too much weed, and I never want to do that to myself or to my future children, because that was really hard to deal with. It was really hard to see her like that, and it really helped me not want anything to do with that. Another addiction that we have really bad in this world is screens and phones. This is because it gives us dopamine, but it's an unnatural way of getting dopamine, which also means that we are not getting dopamine from the natural sources that we would usually get it from, such as sunlight, exercise, nutrition, meditation, sleep, connections, art, music, physical touch, things like that. Those things give us dopamine, but our phone gives us such an instant, mindless sense of dopamine. Every time you get a like, you get a little boost of dopamine. When you get a message, you get a little boost of dopamine. All these things, you see a video of a cute dog that you love, that's going to give you a boost of dopamine, which is why they're so addictive. But they are such an issue. Such an issue. We are spending so much time in front of a screen. It is literally rotting our brains. Literally, almost the entire population has ADHD, and this is not a surprise. It's because our brains are now being wired differently because we're staring at a screen that's flashing colors in our brain all day. And don't get me wrong, I'm probably just as bad as the next. There'll be times where I'm like, ugh, and I'm just mindlessly scrolling on my phone and 2 hours have gone by. And every time I'm like, why did I do that? There is 900 things that I could have done with that time that would have been way better for me, better for everything. So just be aware. I will get into this a little bit more later on. So the next thing I want to talk about is mind control and programming. So we have been very programmed. This program has resulted in us having many limiting beliefs. We are being conditioned to think small, to fit inside this box, and if we don't fit, then we're made to feel as if we're stupid or weird or that we don't belong or that we're unworthy. And this programming is manipulating the way that we think, causing us to always be stressed, constantly doubt ourselves, and feel as though we're not good enough or unworthy to have the things we want to have, to do the things we want to do. It leads us to have a very negative mindset, a very negative belief system, so many limiting beliefs. There are so many limiting beliefs in this world that we just think we can't have that and we're not good enough and only the lucky ones get this and we're not lucky. And that is just common. That is so normal, and we hate ourselves and we're mean to ourselves and we look at ourselves in the mirror and we're picking ourselves apart. The next part of this mind control and programming is about schools. Have you ever wondered why in school we're not taught about money, finances, emotions, nutrition, how to grow our own food? Even cooking was an elective in school. We are not taught the basics of what we need in order to take basic care of ourselves, let alone to thrive and believe in our hopes and dreams and have good self-esteem and good self-worth and all these things. We're not taught about all these toxins in our foods and what they do to us and our bodies and our minds and our souls and our emotions. We're not taught about it. Now, schools and 9-to-5 jobs, both. Schools is foreshadowing for the 9-to-5 jobs that most people end up doing after school. They force us to sit still, be quiet, do as we're told. it makes us inactive, and it programs us to believe a lot of things that are really holding us back in life. We are meant to move. Movement is so important. So important. It has so many benefits. And it's not good for us to sit in a chair for 8 hours a day. It's not even good for us to sit in a chair for like 4 or 5 hours a day, let alone all day. And we have to be quiet. We have to be still. We're not allowed to be goofy. We can't speak out of turn. We have to put our hands up to ask a question. All these things, it's just been programming our brains since day one to fit inside this box, to be small, to be quiet, to not use our imaginations. Classrooms, I mean, I'm sure there are some teachers out there that have their classrooms decorated nicely, but schools are cement buildings with gray walls. If teachers don't have like colorful posters and decor up in their room, they are gray, they are dull, they are not exciting. They have maybe little baby windows, but usually not huge windows in classrooms. Probably because the outside's too distracting. I don't know. Also, under fluorescent lights. Fluorescent lighting is terrible for us. It is awful. It is so unnatural. It is hard on our brains. It gives a lot of people headaches. Both of my sisters had Irlen syndrome, which was essentially being allergic to fluorescent lights. It's like their eyes would move things around on paper when they were under fluorescent light because it's awful. Awful. They also want us to not be able to think for ourselves, to not question what we're learning, to just do as we're told. So pretty much they just want us to become their soulless robots. And that was actually said by the Rockefellers, that they designed the school system. I believe this is more in the States, but I'm sure it is nearly what you learn in the school in the States is nearly the same as what we learn in school in Canada. Is they designed the school system to create workers, not thinkers. That is literally a quote from the Rockefellers. If you don't know who they are, do some research because they are a big part of the problem. So, yeah, not being able to think for ourselves, not being able to think outside the box. It's not encouraged to think outside the box. And I always wonder this because I went to school to be a teacher. I finished half my degree and I decided that I did not support what it was, and that wasn't what I wanted to do. That wasn't how I wanted to teach children. That wasn't what I wanted to teach children, and I just got over it really fast. And I'm glad that I did because I would have had a really hard time sticking to the curriculum. There would have been a lot of things that I wanted to teach that was not in this book of things that you're allowed to teach. And if you go outside the book, then there are people that you can get in a lot of trouble, essentially.
Do you enjoy hearing stories about after-death communications, spiritual interventions, ghosts, or people who have died and come back to talk about their experiences in the afterlife? I'm Brian.
And I'm Marjorie, and we share our own supernatural experiences that have occurred throughout our lives.
Join us as we host a podcast about otherworldly phenomena called
Back to Paranormal, where we talk about all these things, as well as UFOs, Bigfoot, and many, many more. We deliver the chills and some chuckles. Please join our journey on the Back to Paranormal podcast,
available anywhere you get your podcasts.
We hope to see you soon.
And it just is so sad to me that we're taking these imaginations away from children, that we are programming people just feel so small and think so little of themselves. Like, how has this been happening for so long and nobody's like questioning what is going on? I'm here to question it. Question everything. So next is TV. TV is all the same, and it fills our minds with so much garbage, and it also does a lot of conditioning. So between TV and social media, we are fed a lot of propaganda because what we see is all controlled and monitored by the government. So people get paid to say certain things. A lot of it is fake, a lot of it isn't real. Even if you think it's real, reality TV shows are scripted, so it's not very realistic. This is mostly true and should be very we should be very aware of this when it comes to news and media, that we're supposed to rely on these sources to tell us what is happening in the world. We're supposed to rely on these sources to tell us what's happening in the world, but all they do is focus on so much negative, and they fill our brains with fear, propaganda. So the only way that and again, that's the only way that you can control others. So just really be mindful. If you watch the news, just stop. I don't know if you've ever seen that video of, it starts out with one news anchor and he's saying something, and then it goes to 4, and then it goes to 8, and then it goes to 32, and then it just keeps going, and they're all saying the exact same thing. Even though they're from different news channels, they're still given the same script of what to say. And I just feel like that should be an extremely big red flag. There's a lot of information that's misheld or misinterpreted, or again, they just only focus on the negatives. You don't see the news stories about the good, uplifting parts of society. We see all the news articles about the homeless issues, and there was a murder, and there was a this, and there was a that, and blah, 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 and all these negative things. And like, although yes, I think it is good to know if that's happening in your community so that you can be safe and feel safe and know that there's dangers out there, I suppose, but that's all in the news. They don't even do like, okay, listen, this is a warning, this is happening around this area, so you might want to make sure your doors are locked at night or whatever. It's all, and then mix in a story about, oh, but this kid did this awesome thing at school, and he brought lunch for a friend that didn't have lunch, and or just something that's like nice and uplifting. You don't hear about that ever. You only hear about the bad. It also ends up that we want to spend all this time watching TV, and this thing that I have a really big issue with that drives me crazy is so many people are obsessed with keeping up with famous people, that these people are very idolized, but actually they are very messed up people, and they are involved in a lot of evil things. There is a lot of information coming out about this now, to do with the Illuminati, to do with human sacrifices, selling your soul to the devil for fame and fortune. All these things that we heard were conspiracy theories, although there's starting to be a lot of proof coming out, and I'm the biggest conspiracy theorist you'll ever meet. But I don't really believe that the conspiracy theories, I believe that they are real. So there is a lot of information coming out about this. If you want to do your research about Hollywood and all the evil that is there, and I learned a lot about this from my shaman as well, of what's going on, and it's terrifying and it's scary, and I know that it's going to be sorted out, and that's a big part of this awakening, this shift in the Earth's energy rising. The more we get rid of that, the more we can rise. So stop idolizing Taylor Swift. She is literally one of the worst ones. See, she is so involved in these negative things with the devil, with Illuminati, whatever. She is right there. So A, quit listening to her music because she is possessed by the devil. B, she's really not that great. And C, I don't care if you're the biggest Taylor Swift fan on the planet and you're offended. Do your research. It's not just her, it's a lot of singers, and I sometimes have a hard time. I'm a DJ, and a lot of the music that I play while DJing, I am just sitting there thinking, oh yeah, this is meant to possess people. Fun. So another aspect of this is our health, and especially when it comes to big pharma. So something that we need to know, that we need to be aware of, that needs to be common knowledge, is that all of the same corporations that own all these companies that feed us toxic food. So pretty much all brands are actually owned by 99% of the world is owned by the same 5 corporations who are owned by the same people. And these are things like Coke, Pepsi, all those companies like that. Literally pretty much all of them. Okay, so these same corporations that own all the companies that feed us these toxic foods that result in us having all of these awful side effects are also the same corporations that make the drugs that they give us when we're, quotation marks, sick. However, these drugs don't actually fix the problem. We are fed a lot of lies about healthcare, And I'm not going to say that all Western medicine is bad, because it's not all bad, but there is a lot of it that is really bad, and that we need to be more aware of what is truly going on. They are incentivized to give us pills. They get paid more money based off of more prescriptions that they give out. And these pills, none of them are fixing any problem. They are not getting down to the root cause of the problem of your issue. All they're doing is eliminating the symptoms. So you think that this problem is gone, so you have problem A, which results in you having headaches and nausea. So they give you a pill. Now you don't have headaches and nausea, so you think that you don't still have problem A, but you do. You just aren't feeling the side effects. Then you've been taking this medication for so long because it's getting rid of your headaches and nausea. Then you end up with problem B, because these pills aren't natural, they're not good for us, and they just create more issues. So now we have problem A and problem B, and now problem B gives you different side effects than problem A, so now we have to take another medication, so now we're getting rid of our other symptoms, but then this is going to lead on and become problem C, and it just keeps going on and on and on and on, because we're not fixing anything. We will always still have the underlying issue that is there if we don't get to the root cause of the issues. But they're not going to tell you, oh, you need to eat a whole food diet with no pesticides, and you need to eliminate toxins, and you should not use Mr. Clean, and you should not do all these things. That's not what the doctor's going to tell you. The doctor's going to tell you, okay, here, take this medication and you'll be fine. So I just don't trust, because I can see what's happening. I hurt my finger. I got my fingernail essentially ripped out of my finger, and they had to sew it back in. And I went 2 weeks later just to a walk-in clinic to get my stitches taken out. And the doctor asked me if they x-rayed my finger. And I said no, because it was the very tip of my finger. Even if it's broken, there's not really anything you can do about it. So I didn't think it was necessary. And then he says, okay, do you want antibiotics? Antibiotics? I'm sorry. For a broken finger? You think antibiotics is going to fix my broken finger? No. Antibiotics has nothing to do with broken bones. I've broken many bones in my life. Never they've given me antibiotics. And I'm looking at this dude like he is nuts. And he's looking at me like I'm stupid because I don't want to take his antibiotics. I'm like, no, stop pill pushing me. I also have endometriosis. And when I found that out, I went to the gynecologist to get diagnosed, I guess. And he asked me all these questions and said, yeah, it sounds like that's what you have. We'll have to do an ultrasound to see if we can see it. And if we can't see it with an ultrasound, we might have to give you a scope. And I was like, okay, I don't mind having to do that. I just want to know, if I do have it, what can I do to fix it? What is going to happen in order to make it better? And he said, you can go on birth control or get an IUD. Those were my two options. That was essentially so that I wouldn't get my period, so that I wouldn't have bad periods if I didn't get my period. So that was his logic. If you get this birth control and you don't get your period, then you don't have endometriosis, or your side effects go away because you're not having your period, because that's really healthy for your body to not shed and bleed and let go of the things that we don't need. It's so unnatural. And also, not to mention, I had been on birth control once for about 3 months, and I got a blood clot in my lung and almost died. So I can't take birth control even if I wanted to, because it nearly killed me. And I'm glad that happened to me, because I haven't spent my entire adult life on birth control. And I think my uterus and my ovaries and hormones are thanking me for that. But that's it. You're a kid. You're young. You have any issue, PCOS, or endometriosis, or any issue with your reproductive system, especially for women's health, the only answer every time is birth control. Oh, this, birth control. Oh, you have bad acne, birth control. Any issue you have. Oh, you have bad cramps, birth control. Oh, you have this, birth control. Oh, you have blood clots, birth control. No, but like that's not where these problems are coming from. And birth control only makes it worse. If you stop taking birth control, good luck. Sorry, I don't want to scare you, because if you're on birth control, I highly suggest you get off of it. But it's going to be a journey to get your body back to being normal. And it's going to be a journey of learning to heal in a different way in order to make it change. So yeah, over time, the side effects of the medications lead to more issues that require more medications, which cause more issues, and it's a never-ending cycle, and we're actually never getting better. And this happened to my grandma. By the time my grandma died, she was on 8 different medications, and 7 of them were to fix the side effects from the other ones. So it started out with, I think she had low blood pressure, so she takes this medication for low blood pressure, and then that medication gave her something else, and so they gave her another medication, and then she was taking handfuls of pills at a time to get rid of all the symptoms from all the pills she's taking. So it's tough. It's sad. It is so sad to watch. I have a really hard time with healthcare. So how sad? The most profitable business is our health. People make billions of dollars, trillions of dollars off of people being sick. They depend on people to be sick in order to make this money, which is part of the reason why they make us sick with our food, water, and the products we use, our environment, all this stuff, all these toxins that are having all these effects on our body, negative effects on our body. Well, cha-ching for them. Every single issue you have, they're making money off of you. So why do you think they're doing it? Why do you think they're putting it in our food, in our water, in our products? Why are we breathing it in our lungs every single day? Because these people want to make more money off of us being sick. How awful is that? I don't know how people do it. I don't know how you sleep at night knowing you're doing that to millions of people, billions of people. That is messed up. So this is why nutrition and healthy eating and also awareness is just so important. When we nourish our body properly, we can create a deep awareness, deeper connection, a healthy body, clear mind, and spiritual clarity for ourselves as well. And as humans, we are supposed to be very magnetic, powerful beings. We are meant to be magic. We are meant to create miracles. We are meant to do all these beautiful, amazing things that most humans don't even experience in their lifetime. Maybe the odd ones will experience those things because they've worked hard to stay clean, eat clean, be healthy, exercise, all those things. But we can never have these experiences when we are so full of toxins and unprocessed emotions and fear and all these things that are so toxic and in our body. So I want to talk about the connection between toxins in our body and our emotions, which is also connected to the widespread of disconnection. So our mind and bodies are very connected, and the toxins in our food, environment, and everyday products affect our brain. This affects our hormones, which affects our serotonin and dopamine levels, which makes it harder to regulate our emotions and process stress. High amounts of toxins in the body leave us feeling stressed, which makes it harder for us to be calm, grounded, and have regulated emotional responses. Being stressed all the time leaves us in fight or flight response, where our bodies can't even function properly. We cannot use our hormones properly, we cannot break down our food properly, we cannot have proper sleep, everything. It affects everything when we are stressed, when we have this many toxins. This can lead to blocked emotional energy. So emotions are energy that flow throughout the body. When we don't process these emotions, they become stuck and they block the flow of energy within the body. When our emotions are blocked, this can lead to disease and issues in our body as well. So since we're not taught how to properly deal with our emotions, along with the mix of toxins in our body, leads to a lot of issues. So some things that it can lead to, dysregulated emotions can lead to physical consequences such as chronic stress, high blood pressure, weakened immune systems, weight gain or loss, digestive issues, chronic fatigue, headaches, and tightness in chest. Some mental health consequences are anxiety and depression, racing thoughts, worry, fear, hopelessness, emotional numbness, and difficulty concentrating. Some behavioral issues, some behavioral consequences are emotional outbursts, avoidance, and being very impulsive when reacting to things. Our emotional consequences are inability to identify emotions, so not knowing what emotion you're feeling, not being able to label it, emotional numbness, and also having emotions that are just extremely intense. They can be very hard to deal with. They come on very strong. It is a lot, and it turns our response into instantly just shutting them down, pushing them down, not allowing ourselves to feel it properly or deal with it. Our relationship consequences can be increased conflict. So we're on edge, we fight more, we're causing issues in our relationships. This isn't just romantic, this is also relationships with your friends, families, any people that you interact with, really. It can result in difficulty setting boundaries. So we don't have any boundaries, which is going to allow us to feel walked all over all the time, and it's going to create a lot of different issues. And codependency. So you may get to a point where feeling like you're codependent on somebody, you cannot be alone, you can't have alone time. You become codependent on somebody, which often results in you ending up in a toxic relationship because you just feel as if you need somebody. So you're not really worried who that somebody is, you just want to be with somebody. And then oftentimes you make excuses for that person because you're too afraid to be alone. So then you get stuck in this toxic situation, and it's actually very common and it's very sad. Our spiritual consequences, disconnection from the higher self, lack of purpose, and an inability to let go of things. So when we have that disconnection from our spirituality, it can be really hard to forgive others, let go and move on from things, to see the lessons in things versus thinking everything is a curse. And our lack of purpose, so we just don't feel like there's any meaning. We don't feel like there's some big reason why we're here, something we're meant to do, something we're meant to teach, something we're meant to share, things like that. And it also blocks our healing and growth patterns. So it can make us be stagnant in our personal development journey. So we're not going forward or backwards. We're just stuck at a standstill, and we feel like we can't do anything. We feel like our hands are tied. And also fear-based decision making. So this is really big in growth, because if we're making all of our decisions out of a place of fear, we're going to fail. Whereas if we're making our decisions out of a place of trusting the universe, knowing that these wonderful things are going to happen for you, that's just a big difference. And a difficulty forgiving others. Forgiveness is so important. It is such a key role especially in healing and growing and letting go. If we can't forgive others, we're never going to grow. We're not going to get past anything. If one thing happens to you and you just can't forgive it, you can't move past it, you're going to be stuck at that same thing forever. So in order to learn forgiveness is actually such a big step, especially on a spiritual journey of we're just trying to understand that we are all one. We are all human. We all came here the same way. We all want basically the same things. We all need the same things. So no one person is better than another, and we're humans. We're all going to make mistakes. I've made mistakes in my life, and I would hope that somebody would forgive me. So I'm going to forgive somebody if they made a mistake at my expense. That doesn't mean I have to be their best friend and spend all my time with them, but it also means that I don't have to be walking around holding this grudge, holding hate in my heart, feeling so negative towards this person. Practice forgiveness. And last is suppressing our emotions. So when we suppress our emotions, it doesn't dissolve them. It presses them down and causes them to actually have more long-term issues. So this is really dangerous, and it's really, really common because we're not taught how to properly deal with our emotions at all. So it just ends up becoming an automatic trauma response of just shoving them down and not dealing with them. but it doesn't matter how far down you shove them, they're still in your energetic field. They're still in your aura, they're still in your energy, and you're going to be vibrating at a low vibration until you actually deal with that emotion and clear it out of your body. And sometimes that takes a lot of work, but I promise you, it is so worth it. I highly recommend. So now what? Now that I shared all of this information with you, I know that it can be a bit overwhelming, but I want you to know that you're not alone and that we need to wake up to these truths in order to make a change in this world. So I'm going to share with you guys some things that you can start doing to make changes in your life right now. Number 1, detox your body and environment. So pay attention to the foods that you eat, what's in them, how they make you feel, and try and switch to whole and organic foods if you can. It's going to be really hard to eat no toxins at all, but all you have to do is start trying to eliminate them bit by bit. Eliminate toxins in your products such as soap, shampoos, conditioners, perfumes, candles, laundry, detergents, cleaners, medicine, all makeup, and all those things. So go through your house, go through your things. Again, get the app Yucca and scan everything that you own. Okay, my concealer was rated 0 out of 100 and had like 4 hazardous additives, cancer-causing additives. No thank you, I'm not putting that on my face. You're going to be really disgusted and by finding out what's in a lot of these products. It's disgusting, it's really sad, and can be really overwhelming of thinking, oh my god, I've put that in my body for years, and it rates a 0 out of 100. It's so bad for me. So again, give yourself some grace. You didn't know. You only know what you know. That was considered normal. We weren't told to think about these things, to question what's in things. We were just told to here, do this, have, yes, right now, right here. We're not thinking about it. We're just buying it. Another thing you can do is drink clean water. So you can get a trusted type of filter to clean your water or drink natural spring water. Please, for the love of God, quit drinking Dasani and Aquafina. That shit's not even water. It doesn't even taste like water. If you're in the gas station and you're picking up water to drink because you need some water, the thicker the water bottle, the worse the water is for you. The flimsy little spring water plastic ones is the best. The thick ones that you can't even like crinkle, those are not water. That is just straight chemicals. Practice emotional awareness and release emotions. So a good way to do this is journaling. I like to journal. I used to journal every single day. Now I only journal when I feel like there's something that I am working through, or if there's something that awesome that really happened to me that I want to write it down, things like that. But do daily check-ins for yourself. You can do this not journaling or journaling, doesn't matter if you want to just do it in your mind or say it out loud versus sitting down and writing it out. Either way works. Check into your emotions throughout the day and allow yourself to feel the emotions that are coming up for you. So if you feel angry, feel angry. Ask yourself, why do I feel angry? And see what you can do to set a boundary so that you don't feel angry again if that was to happen, or avoid that happening for yourself. Allow yourself to feel emotions. I did say that. Focus on your breath and notice when you breathe fast and shallow versus slow and deep. Our breath is our connection to life. Our breath can tell us so many things. If you've never done breath work, I highly recommend looking into it. It can be very beneficial. It has a lot of benefits and really helps us see truly how powerful our breath is. But if you're breathing fast and shallow, like that's a sign that you're feeling anxiety, nervousness, all those emotions that we don't want to feel. And if we are breathing slow and deep, like well, that is good. That means our heart rate is slowed down. That means we are relaxed. And that's the kind of breathing that we want. Move your body. This helps you to release emotions along with so many other benefits, but movement is really, really, really powerful with moving energy within the body. And use your intention to help move your emotions when you move your body. So before you exercise, set the intention of, this workout is going to help me move out all of my frustration. This exercise is going to help me move out all of my anger. This exercise is going to help me move out all of my jealousy, or whatever it is. Number 3 is spiritual practices. So practice meditation, practice connecting to your intuition, ground yourself, spend time in nature, and have a gratitude practice. Gratitude is so important. Number 4 is to set boundaries with technology and media. So limit your screen time as much as possible that you can, especially if you have a job where you're staring at a screen all day and then you come home and you want to stare at a screen all day. That's a lot of screen time. So just be aware and try to do things that you don't have to look at a screen as much as you can. Reduce exposure to harmful media. So unfollow any accounts that make you feel triggered. Don't watch the news. Don't pay attention to famous people. All these things that end up being harmful. If you follow somebody and they trigger you, they make you feel upset, don't follow them. Unfollow them. Get rid of them. You don't need them. And try to only follow uplifting, positive, and encouraging accounts. Find people that are inspirational, that are into the same things as you, that kind of thing, and follow those accounts. You don't have to follow any account that makes you upset. If a single post makes me really upset, I will unfollow that account. Because why? There's so many accounts out there. I don't need to follow somebody that's going to make me upset. Find books or podcasts or influencers even that talk about health and self-awareness, empowerment, healing, self-worth, and self-love, things like that, and spend some time consuming that kind of content. I love podcasts. I love books. And they've helped me learn and understand so much, so I highly recommend. Number 5 is set emotional boundaries. Stay home when you need to stay home. Don't go out just because your friends want you to go out. If you really feel like you need to just stay home and chill and recharge, do that. Honor yourself. Don't go out to the bar. People are overwhelming and it's just going to cause you to feel worse. Cut out people in your life that drain your energy or don't respect your boundaries. So if you ever spend time around somebody and then after you're like, oh, I am so tired, I need a nap, that was draining, don't hang out with that person. Find a better friend. There are so many people in this world. And it's also good to sit down and clarify your boundaries for yourself so that you know when people are crossing those boundaries and you know your boundaries. So if somebody crosses this boundary, I cut off contact with them. If somebody crosses this boundary, I'm just going to sit down and say, listen, I don't like this. I don't want this. I don't appreciate that you're treating me this way, or whatever it is. Number 6 is to detox the mind. So we can do this through affirmations, which help rewire our brains. Affirm to yourself how wonderful, strong, powerful, and beautiful you are. Learn to discern between true and false information. So this, question everything. Question literally everything because, again, there's been a lot of lies in this world and we're not going to know the actual truth if we don't question everything. And ask questions. Why? What does this do for me? How does this benefit me? How does this harm me? Ask yourself these questions and then see what comes up for you. But the more questions, the more you're going to understand, the more you're going to see, the more you're going to know. Number 7 is build like-minded community. Join or create a community of like-minded people. Community is important, especially with this kind of thing. It's really good to know that you're not alone in all of this. And we're meant to be a part of a community always. It may also be helpful to hire a coach or take a course to help you feel more supported and educated along the way as well. Number 8 is rituals and letting go. So the full moon is the best for releasing rituals, letting go of things that we no longer need. The new moon rituals are good for setting intentions, what we want to call into our life. I do have more episodes on the moons and ceremonies you can do. We want to practice forgiveness. Again, it's just so beneficial. And it also can be beneficial to become aware of our ego and learn to understand when it's your ego talking versus yourself, soul, highest self, intuition, all the different voices you hear in your head that are all the same voice, but being able to discern between them. And that is all. So this was a lot. It can be a little overwhelming. I hope I don't sound like a crazy person because as crazy as it is actually all very true. So this is World War III, the war that most of us don't even know we're fighting for But we are fighting. We're fighting for our health, for our power, for our magic, and we are fighting to raise consciousness, to enlighten others, and to help make this world a better place. I know that all of our souls yearn for a place of love and healing where we're taught to follow our wildest dreams and just know that we are so loved and supported by the universe, where we're not so extremely disconnected from nature and ourselves and others, because I have visions of this world and I know that it is so possible and I know that it is so coming. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Please, please, please share this episode with your friends and family and loved ones, especially those who might be a little bit of conspiracy theorists. I hope that this word gets spread a lot, because I think that what I just had to say here was important, and these are things that I have been trying to put into words for a long time, and just finally it came out. Finally it happened, and I am so excited to have sharing this with you guys. So thank you so much. I love you so much. If you have any questions or you feel like you need to talk to somebody that understands what you're going through, please feel free to reach out. You can find me on Instagram at soulful.self.development. And I also have a website, soulfulselfdevelopment.ca. You can find me there as well. And that is all for today. So until next time, bye!